everyone, it's Deligracy here,
Obviously.
and welcome to another video. Today's video, obviously by the title, you can see that it's a little bit different to usual. I'm actually wanting to do more lifestyle type videos on weekends because I just feel like we need a bit of a break from Sims during the week. I want to connect with you guys beyond the Sims. So I thought weekdays, mostly Sims, weekends, we do something a little bit different. So welcome to Weekends with Deli. I don't know if you guys have an idea of what we can call it, let me know in the comments down below. Today, as you can tell by the title, I am going to be speaking about my anxiety. A lot of you guys know that I have anxiety and it can be really bad sometimes. You guys have been asking for a video about my anxiety for ages, so I'm glad to be finally filming it. Sorry I haven't filmed it earlier, but as you probably understand, anxiety can be really, or any issue that's very personal, is hard to talk about online. I also don't want this video to be completely like self-absorbed and more like a counseling session for myself. I want this video to actually help you guys. This is the purpose of it. So I guess I'll start off this video. My friend Jasmine, actually, when I told her I was making this video, she brought up a very important point, and she said, just remember that people watching who have anxiety have all different kinds of anxiety. And I think that's a really, really important thing to say. So my anxiety is going to be very different to a lot of you. Some of you might have situational anxiety. Others of you might have anxiety that is a lifelong thing that you've had since you were a child. So I just want to say I understand that, and I'll just explain my experience. Also, because we're on YouTube, I do have to say, or disclosure, I never know which one to say. I do have to make clear that I am not a professional, I am not a doctor. So this advice I'm giving you is merely things that I felt have helped me, and it might not work for you. So if you need it, seek professional advice. And otherwise, I hope there's a few tips that can help you. So my anxiety wasn't an issue growing up or during my teenage years. I was actually quite calm and collected during my teenage years and growing up. I feel like if I was ever like stuck in a room or in a basement or something, I would be cool, calm, collected and be able to deal with that. Whereas now, I feel like I would get very claustrophobic and have a panic attack. So I think that just goes to show that this is a recent thing for me and it wasn't something I grew up with. Really, when I started getting anxiety was after an overseas trip when I was studying overseas. Long story short, I got a really bad tummy bug and it was very severe. I was away for 3 weeks, came home around 8 kilograms lighter. I think I weighed under 50 kilos, which for me is the lightest I've ever been. So I was very, very sick. And it's actually the time that I actually got into YouTube. So YouTube was what I started whilst recovering from that trip. Now, there's a lot of research out there that states sometimes, and in some cases, people's anxiety begins as a result of gut damage, like damage to your gut. So there's a lot of people who have had issues with their tummy, where a lot of your chemicals are from your stomach being botched up. It then starts to affect your mind and you can develop depression and anxiety. I don't want to go into that, but basically for me, I felt like that's exactly what happened. I had a bad tummy bug, and when I got home, I just changed. The first time I ever had a panic attack or experienced anxiety was actually when I'd been home for a few weeks. My mum and I decided to drive to the city to check out an exhibition. And I was excited to go. And I was just in the car with mum, like nothing unusual, we were just driving there. And all of a sudden, I just felt like I couldn't breathe properly. Like my breathing was suddenly really light, shallow breaths, and I was starting to worry because my breathing wasn't correct. I was like, my mom's really smart. And she was just like, are you struggling breathing or something? I said, yeah, I don't really know why. And she said, I think you might be having a little bit of anxiety. And I was like, what is that? Define anxiety. Anxiety, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease about something with an uncertain outcome, or a strong desire or concern to do something or for something to happen. Ooh, I have hiccups. So that's a dictionary meaning. For me, it's probably, to describe it, is often very physical. So suddenly I might feel my chest tightening, I might feel pain in my chest, I feel like I can't breathe normally, I'm very aware of my breathing, I might get really, really hot or dizzy. Those are all common physical things that start happening to me quite randomly often. And over the years, the triggers for that have changed a lot. So at the moment and recently, I really dislike being in cars that I'm not driving. That's an example. Like I'll just hop in a car and someone else is driving and my body will naturally go into this flight or fight state where honestly, I feel like I could sprint around an oval and I'm just ready for it. My body freaks out, so then my mind freaks out. It's very much body than mind. Whereas for a lot of people, some of you guys watching, you'll start thinking about stuff and start worrying and then it affects you physically. So I think a common misconception about anxiety is because it's called a mental illness. That actually annoys me a lot because for me it feels like a physical then mental illness. Let me know in the comments if you're the same. So I could go on and on about stories where I've had really bad anxiety. I guess I could do story times for you guys. Just for the purpose of, not for entertainment, but more the purpose of, these are situations I've been in, this is how I dealt with it, and I'm the same as you, like I freak out sometimes as well. I could definitely do that, but I think in this video I would rather speak about things that have helped me and that might help you guys, and then if you have more things you would like to hear about, just comment down below. So like I said, when I feel anxious, I often physically feel like I need to run or something. And my mom actually gave me a really good technique that you can do when you're around people or in a car, and usually people don't notice. So basically, if you're sitting, it's a little bit hard to do it when you're standing, but if you're sitting, what you do is you clench your thighs together, like really hard, like clench them up, like you really don't want to go to the bathroom right now. And what that actually does is it triggers the muscles in your leg that you would usually be using to run away. So kind of think of it like if you're alive in the Stone Ages and you're like at a watering hole and there was a lion or something, you would freeze, which is what happens to you when you're having anxiety. You sometimes like freeze up and you're like, what's happening to me? And then you get this internal energy where you have to sprint. So if you just put your legs together, and then let go, it at least releases some of that tension. So I do that a lot when I'm in cars. So if you're in a car with me, you probably think, oh my gosh, is she like busting for the toilet or something? Is she okay? That's what I'm doing. Another really good thing is to actually like get up and run on the spot. If I'm recording and I have anxiety, I'll just like literally leave my office chair, get up and do like running man on the spot, high knees on the spot, skipping, and it releases that tension. Another thing that is probably the main thing I do when I have anxiety is deep breathing. I probably recommend you looking up videos online how to do proper deep breathing. The reason why it's really good is because it actually slows your body down and it actually makes you really sleepy if you do it right. So what I do, you guys can try it right now if you want to. Don't feel silly because it's a really good thing to do. Even if you don't have anxiety, if you feel stressed or nervous before something, it can even help you with that. But basically, I breathe in through my abdomen or my stomach, and the aim is to put the air in your stomach so your stomach like goes up like a balloon. So instead of breathing up here, we go breathe in your stomach. Your tummy will go out, and then you breathe out. You breathe out like you're blowing up a balloon. So it's a very like breath. So go in through the tummy, out through the mouth. And if you rest your hands on your tummy, you can feel your tummy deflating. That's how I was taught to do it. There's probably much better instructional videos online. If I do that a few times, like I might have to do that for 5 minutes before I actually feel that I'm relaxing. I do feel really sleepy. And even if I can't sleep at nighttime, sometimes I'll do that because it just makes me sleepy. So that's a really good one. Of course, if you're full-blown having a panic attack, it's like impossible to breathe and you can't control that. That's when counting your breaths is really helpful. You might have seen GIFs of the anxiety breathing numbers, or there's like apps on your phone you can get where it shows the count that you're meant to breathe to. I would use that with that type of breathing, not just normal breathing, like stomach breathing. So that's another thing that really helps me. Basically, prevention things that I think apply to most people who have anxiety. Things that will help is if you are exercising regularly. Exercise is really good. And even if you're the type of person who's never exercised before, who never does it, it's really not that hard. Get a podcast you like, walk around the block a few times, After you've done that for a little while, get up to a slow jog, like even jog for a few meters, walk again. Just getting yourself moving really helps your body, the chemicals in your body, your hormones, like all of that does contribute to the way you feel mentally. So exercise is a really good thing. Eating good food's important. I know it's so much easier said than done, but if you're eating a lot of bad food, if you're eating a lot of sugar, that's gonna make you mentally not feel good at all. Everything physical is connected to you mentally and vice versa. Sleep, good food, drinking lots of water, it's good for your looks, it's good for anxiety. Those are kind of the physical things that'll help. Of course, a lot of you guys will have mental triggers. Maybe you don't like crowds of people, maybe you don't like heights, but you have to work in a big high-rise building every day. Those types of things, I think that's when you should really see someone to help figure it out mentally and cognitively, ways to not feel scared. But for me, because my anxiety is so physical, it's very much these core things that have helped me a lot. I'll try and answer a few of these questions on Twitter now to finish up the video. I won't give you guys shout outs because I don't know if you want shout outs for these questions, but you know who you are. Okay, how do you cope when you have to deal with large groups of people? I'm not too bad with crowds. Crowds isn't like a trigger for me and my anxiety. I can't say I feel comfortable about crowds. If I'm at a gaming convention, because I do go to gaming conventions regularly, which are very, very busy and big halls, I only really stay in there for an hour or so and then I leave. I just don't like being in there for that long. So for me, it's just about removing myself. I like going to the toilet if I want to escape as well. I usually will find where the bathrooms are in less popular places, so I know I can go there and have like a little breather before I go back out again, as opposed to going to the really crowded toilets. So maybe just know where the exits are, know, okay, I can leave when I want to, I know where the exit is, I know this is a quiet place. Just find a way out and know that you can leave whenever you want to. I think that's probably a good way to deal with crowds. Tips for those who may know someone with anxiety, what to do when they have an anxiety attack, ways to handle situations. So this is a tricky question. It's almost one for a separate video, but I think you've got to remember that every single person's different. So every person will need different things that will work for them best when they're having a panic attack. Typically, I think anyone having a panic attack should be moved to a safer, quieter place. Even if there's not much quiet around, just if they have a little bit of room, personal space, get them away from any loud noises. One of the worst things people have offered me when I've had anxiety is, hey, do you want to like go out and do something? I'm like, no. I mean, maybe that helps some people, but see it as someone being really sick, like violently ill. You don't want to go out when you're like throwing up. So take them somewhere a little bit private, where there's not loud noises. Some people actually really like to be in darker spaces, like a little bit of darkness or air. Fresh air is good, just so they can calm down a little bit. The other thing is some people like to be left alone. Other people like people around them. For me personally, I like to just be left alone, put me in a room by myself. I don't want anyone around me. But other people, they will need someone. So just ask the person. Think about the deep breathing. Deep breathing is really helpful. If you count the deep breathing for someone, if you have the Calm app on your phone with the counting, so you can count them through their breaths. If it's quite a severe panic attack, that always helps. And just reassuring someone, like, it's okay. It's normal for people to have panic attacks. It will pass. It's temporary. You know, just letting them know that. And if you remain calm, it will calm them down. And also food and water, and either fresh air, or if it's hot outside, taking them somewhere where there's aircon or a fan. That's really good to help the body relax. Especially if someone's got low blood sugar, getting them something to eat can help. How do you cool off when your anxiety kicks in? Asking for a friend. So like I mentioned before, there's a few things I'll do, jogging on the spot, putting my legs tightly together, deep breathing. Those are immediate things I can do in any environment. But if I'm actually by myself or I have the ability to go somewhere to calm down, if I've had like a really big panic attack, I'll usually want to be by myself. So I'll go to my room or my hotel room or wherever I can go to. I will be alone. I'll do my deep breathing. I'll lie down. If it's hot, I'll put a fan on and I'll just relax. I'll have something to eat, I'll have water, and watching stuff helps. So watching YouTube, Twitch. I love watching people when they're live. Speed running is something that helps me a lot. Probably the following day or a few hours later, I feel like getting outside, going for a run helps a lot. How do you deal with anxiety when you travel? This is another one I feel like could go into another video because there's just so much I could talk about. I do a lot of traveling. My anxiety is triggered by travel as well. So pretty much I always travel with bad anxiety. It's just what I do. It's the reason why I don't really go on holidays much. I usually just travel for work. So I think I need to make a different video for that. If you get panic attacks, how long does it take to calm down? I genuinely want to know. It's actually pretty hard to determine for me if it's a panic attack or not. Like I sometimes feel like panic attacks are seen as a really dramatic breakdown where people will be in hysterics and that's a panic attack, or if you have to call an ambulance. But for me, it's not like that. If I have a panic attack, it's pretty much like really severe anxiety where I really need to go take care of myself. I think for me, my worst panic attacks, or I'm going to call them panic situations, would probably last a couple of hours. And then there's kind of a calm down period, so a recovery period where that can take, well, usually it'll take the rest of the day. It might take a couple of days to feel back to normal. For me, it's not a fast thing to get over. I don't really just bounce back from it and I'm okay after panicking. It really takes a massive toll on my body. It's kind of like if you're really sick, if you're violently ill, you're not gonna often feel fine after throwing up. I mean, some people might, but if I like throw up and stuff, I'd be like, oh, I don't feel so good. I need to lie down for a while. I might be a bit uneasy for the next day. That's kind of how it is for anxiety with me after a big episode or panic attack. Anyway, I really, truly hope this video was a little bit helpful. I'm sorry if it's all over the place. It's my first time talking about this properly, I think. Yeah, I hope I did okay. I hope I helped you. I just want to give a shout out to any of you guys dealing with anxiety, whether it be much more severe than what I experienced, if it's really terrible for you, or if it's just minor for you, anyone with it. I just want to let you guys know that never feel ashamed of it, never feel weak, never feel like you're a weirdo or that there's something wrong with you. It really sucks if you have to deal with it. And if anything, it shows strength that you live with it and that you find ways to deal with it. And even if it gets overwhelming at times, just know that it is temporary and that you're gonna get through it. Empower yourself with ways to help it. Don't struggle with it yourself. Make sure you open up to someone and gradually help yourself so you can enjoy your life more. Don't be ashamed of it. It is not a fun thing to have, and you should not feel like you have to keep it to yourself. So all my love to you guys who deal with it as well. Anxiety buddies. And thank you for all of you who watched this, who have never experienced it, who are just watching to see what all the talk's about. And for those of you guys who are actually wanting to know more to help others that you may know with it, or even if you're not sure if you have some anxiety, if you're just trying to figure yourself out, I hope this helped. Anyway, I'm going to hopefully go play Sims now, so I hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Happy Thanksgiving. Maybe it was yesterday. Anyway, we don't have Thanksgiving in Australia, so I get confused. So, have a good one, guys. Bye.